Hannah here, and welcome to session 2 of Reconnecting with the Breath. Today we are going to be going over humming breath. It is one of my favorite breaths for reconnecting with the voice, reconnecting with the power of the voice and telling your story, witnessing your story. So we are going to be practicing that, and we will also be practicing Ujjayi breath. So there will be 2 options to kind of explore. You can try both and kind of pick which one is your favorite, or maybe just decide how you would like to use these 2 breaths for how it best suits you. So with that, we'll go ahead and get started in a nice, comfortable seated shape. As always, I have my 2 blankets set up. I have one right underneath me, and then I have another one right underneath my hips, and that feels the most supportive for me. So please find a shape that feels welcome to your body, and we'll go ahead and get started. So finding that shape that feels comfortable and tall, allowing lots of space for your spine to elongate up towards the ceiling, allowing lots of space for your ribs to move. And we'll be in this nice tall shape for the remainder of the session. But if at any time you need to move or make an adjustment, please feel free to do so. There is no breath or meditation police. Please make sure that you feel supported and comfortable in your body. So finding that shape, we'll begin to kind of feel into the body. You might even start to take a few movements, maybe rocking from side to side. Just kind of scanning through the body, noticing how you feel. Starting to notice if there's any sticky areas of the body, any areas that are a little bit tight. Maybe scanning through from the top of the head, working your way down, adding in any movement as you see fit. As you scan through the body, maybe rolling the shoulders back, checking in on the jaw, noticing if there's any tension there. And beginning to continue scanning through the body, noticing your belly and your ribs, your hips and your legs. And then as you're ready, we'll begin to take some seated cat-cow. So I welcome you into placing the hands on the tops of your legs. And you can do this with your eyes open or closed. It doesn't matter. It's totally your preference. And we'll start by exhaling all of the air out of the body. And then with your inhale, drawing the chest and the belly forward, rolling the shoulders down the back, maybe taking the gaze up a little bit, finding this nice stretch in the front of the body. And then allowing your exhale to slowly round through the spine, tucking the tailbone and the chin toward one another as you stretch the back body. Continuing to work with your breath as we inhale forward and exhale back. Making this wave-like motion, inhaling forward and allowing your exhale to take you right on back. Just increasing some space in the lungs and the ribs and the back body. If it feels welcome, you could even begin to maybe move through the side bodies as well. Maybe even taking this little squiggly wave back and then forward. Anything goes here. Adding in any organic version of this, any intuitive movement that feels welcome and supportive to your body. And then with your next inhale, option to begin inhaling the belly forward, and then maybe starting to take these hip circles here, these torso circles as we round the belly forward, and then take it on back. You set the pace here, so you get to go as fast or as slow as you'd like. You also get to decide how big the circles are or how small. And we do these movements before our sessions so that there's a little bit of ease in our sitting, because we're not used to sitting still in our culture. And also because it's helpful to warm up these muscles and get them primed to take some fuller, deeper breaths. If you would like to, you could change the direction of your circles. Noticing what it feels like to go in the opposite direction. Is there a different sensation? Does it feel different in any way? One more breath in and out. Slowly starting to make those circles a little bit smaller, smaller and smaller, until you are circling this little tiny circle and then coming to stillness. Checking in, noticing how you feel in your physical body, to just take a few conscious movements. In your own timing, we'll begin to inhale and reach the arms up overhead. Big stretch up towards the ceiling, really reaching the spine up along with your arms, maybe even taking the gaze up a little bit, taking the path of least resistance here as we just open up through the chest and the belly. Exhale, go and release the arms right back down. 2 more, inhaling up. Big stretch, belly can come forward, nice and open, and an exhale right on down. Last one, and this time, instead of allowing yourself to take the path of least resistance, just allow the arms to reach on up. Spine reaches up, and maybe you even slightly, just really gently engage the belly, just enough to prevent any concaving of the back forward. So now we're adding a little bit of conscious engagement. Noticing where the shoulders are. Can you shrug them up next to the ears? And then exhale, allow the shoulders to drop away. Great. We'll take another breath in. Feeling the side body, and then exhale, left hand can come down onto the floor, and we're going to reach over with the right hand. Noticing your shoulder, your right shoulder here. If it's shrugging up next to the ear, and if so, can you allow the right shoulder to drop down away from the ear? Maybe you look up past your right arm, maybe you look straight ahead, or down at the floor. Taking some conscious breaths into the right lung. So just kind of explore the space on the right side. For one more breath. Slow exhale through the nose, please. And then we'll inhale and rise all the way back up, releasing the right hand. Rolling the shoulders out, and then feeling the difference between the left and the right side of the body, taking a moment to notice how does the right side of the body feel compared to the left. And then in your own timing, we'll take the other side. So we'll breathe in and reach the arms up. And exhale, releasing the other hand down. Your top arm over. Checking in on your shoulder, letting it release down away from the ear, and really focusing on opening up in the left ribs, or the ribs that are open for you. We'll be here for another 2 or 3 breaths, observing how there's an expansion that takes place in this area when you inhale, and a softening when you exhale. With your next breath in, slowly starting to come right back up. Taking any organic movements here that feel welcome. Noticing the spaciousness in your body. And we'll begin to tap into our belly breathing. We're going to build off of what we explored in our last session. And so if you remember, the belly breathing is into the belly, allowing the ribs to create some space and expand, and then moving the breath up into the top of the lungs. Now, I do want to bring some awareness here. If you are experiencing any lightheadedness or feeling faint or dizzy from taking these deep breaths, then that means that the breath is too short and we need to lengthen it. So what that looks like is taking slower breaths. So the depth is still there, but the length of the breath is drawn out. And this does take practice. So don't beat yourself up. Please have compassion if it feels like the length of the breath of trying to draw that breath out just isn't quite there today. It will be, maybe in the future, maybe in a couple days, but either way, wherever you're at in this moment, it's a good place to be. So let's extend some compassion to ourselves. And we're gonna start by taking about 10 to 15 breaths of these belly breaths. So we'll start on the exhale, just as we always do, really releasing all of the breath out, finding that slight, really slight and gentle engagement in the belly, just enough to really empty the bottom third of the lungs. Followed by a slow and deep inhale through the nose, sending your breath down into the belly. Maybe you gently coax the ribs to expand and move the breath up just a little bit before letting it go. Another aspect of this breath is I really welcome you to taking as many breaths as you can through your nose. So when we breathe in and out of our mouths, that causes us to take shorter and shallower, quicker breaths. It also dehydrates the body and it puts more strain on our heart and other internal organs. So we're going to try to breathe in and out through the nose as much as possible. And if you have any congestion in your nose, then I welcome you to try and breathe in through there and maybe exhale through your mouth. But even then, allowing the exhales to be slow, kind of like you are blowing through a straw if you are exhaling through the mouth. So do your best, and remember that this takes time, and this is just one session of many. So when you're ready, full exhale out with a slow inhale. And if it helps to have that tactile sense, to start noticing, where exactly is my breath coming in and out of? You could even place a hand on the belly, one on the chest. Slow, deep breaths. Taking your time, allowing each exhale to be complete, knowing that you set the timetable here. There's no rush. You can go at your own pace. And if at any time that you feel maybe lightheaded or uncomfortable, you could always release this breath and return to your natural breathing until you're ready to join us again. You could also track the breath, watching it as you inhale through the nose, feeling the cool air move through your nasal passages, down the back of the throat as it travels into the lungs. Where do you feel your breath moving as you breathe in? Can you feel the belly expand? Can you feel the ribs expand? In and out through the nose. For another 5 breaths. Last one. Okay, we're going to layer on top of this breath. So we'll continue breathing in this fashion, but this time we're going to add our humming breath on top of it. So what that looks like is when we exhale, we're simply going to hum. That's it, exactly how it sounds. And we'll allow the hums to be as loud or as soft as you want them to be. We're going to take 5 of these breaths, really connecting with the innate connection between the breath and the voice. So when you're ready, still breathing in and out of the belly, we'll start with an exhale, and we'll inhale deep and slow, and hum. 4 more. last one. Continuing your belly breathing. Option 2, change the cross of the legs. Staying connected with the breath. Noticing if you feel any vibrations in the throat, the face, or the chest, or maybe somewhere else. Or maybe you feel something different, a different effect of that breath. We will continue to move toward our Ujjayi breath. And this is our oceanic breath because it sounds like the ocean. So what that looks like is a slight constriction in the back of the throat. So just how we were exploring earlier about how taking those quick and shallow breaths can cause one to feel lightheaded or faint or dizzy. That's because we are taking in too much breath all at once, and it's kind of like you're running a race without running a race. So it definitely puts a lot of strain on, like I said, our heart, especially when we mouth breathe. So this breath, the reason why we are practicing it is because the slight constriction in the back of the throat allows us to expand our exhale. It allows us to expand also the inhale and make our breaths slower, longer, as well as they are deep. And if there's any aspect of this breath that you feel uncomfortable with, then I welcome you to return to the humming breath or simply return to your belly breath. Again, have compassion. Have compassion for where you are at in this moment of your journey, knowing that as you continue to journey, if you don't like this breath now, or maybe it's not supportive to you, maybe it'll be supportive to you later on in your journey. So you can keep it in your back pocket. So how we're going to start is imagining that there's a mirror right in front of you, and we'll be layering this Ujjayi breath on top of the belly breath. So the mirror that's in front of you, we're going to try to fog it up. So we'll start with that exhale. Slow inhale through the nose, please. And then fog up the mirror in front of you, exhaling through the mouth. So let's take another 1 or 2 of those. And then eventually on the last one, we're going to continue doing that. And then we'll slowly close the mouth so that the air can release through the nose. Feeling that gentle constriction in the back of the throat. It doesn't have to be harsh, it doesn't have to be forceful. It can be sweet and gentle. So on this next one, start to fog up the mirror and then close the mouth. And we'll continue just like that for another 10 to 15 breaths. Noticing how much deeper and longer the breath is with that slight constriction. It's similar to blowing through a straw, and that straw only allowing so much air out at a time. So it takes longer to exhale the breath. Allowing the tongue to rest at the roof of the mouth. Allowing any clenching in the jaw to soften. Allowing each breath to grow even longer. Inhaling and exhaling through the nose as much as possible. Another 2 or 3 breaths here with our Ujjayi breath. Last one. Option to let go of the Ujjayi breath or any conscious breathing. Returning to your natural breath and observing how your physical body feels in this moment. Observing how your heart feels in this moment. What kind of emotions are present for you? And then noticing the mind, what kind of state it might be in. Our breath is deeply connected to our voice, and the voice connected to the breath, as it gives us the ability to make sound as air passes over our vocal cords. And as well as silence, being silenced, can also affect the breath. So bring to mind a moment in your life when you were deeply seen and heard. A moment when you were able to speak your story and you were greeted with compassion and non-judgment. This might be a moment that you experienced. Maybe you can bring the memory to mind. Or maybe this is a moment that you would like to have and you can imagine it. A moment when someone held space for you as you shared your story and your experiences. And they responded with listening. How does that feel in your body? feel heard, to feel seen, to feel believed. What kind of sensations does that bring up for you? What kind of emotions does that bring up for you? And in acknowledging what it feels like, physically and emotionally, to be seen and accepted and heard, now bring to mind what it could feel like to witness your own story, to look back at how far you've come to be where you are today. What does it feel like to hold space for yourself, to extend compassion and non-judgment and acceptance to you? To witness your own story and love yourself. What does that bring up in your body? Continuing to practice non-judgment and simply acknowledging whatever comes up for you. We'll be here for another 2 or 3 breaths. And then maybe, if you would like to, you could take a cleansing breath in and out, breathing in through the nose and sighing it out of the mouth. Becoming aware of your surroundings, becoming aware of your body and where it is in space, possibly adding some movement back in at your own pace. And then when you're ready, you could take the eyes open if you would like to. Bring your hands to heart center. And we'll end our session with one collective breath, starting by exhaling all of the air out of the lungs, and breathing in through the nose, and letting it go. Thank you so much for taking this time to reconnect with the breath. I hope that you feel connected and safe and at home in your body. If you have any questions or curiosities, please don't hesitate to reach out. And I love answering questions, especially around the breath, and I will be available for any of those questions. Thank you, and I'll see you in our next session.